to English. It's hi. Welcome back, everyone, especially the many of you who I've just seen literally yesterday and a couple of days ago. So I'm seeing you for the second time this week. For the new people, welcome. Welcome to Suet's class. You look good too without makeup. Oh, okay. Now, you know what? I just realized that Form 1, Form 2 classes for seminar is an hour and a half, which we didn't factor in when we came up with the note. So if you realize with the note, it's actually quite ambitious. I wouldn't say greedy, but I mean, I'm always greedy when it comes to lesson, but it is quite ambitious for a class that's an hour and a half. So I might not be able, you know what, let me just be honest. I'm not going to be able to finish everything within the notes. Okay. Um, an hour and a half is not a lot of time. Okay, so I'm gonna pick and choose a bit, at least one big chunk out of every section to kind of just hit it through. Anything that we cannot finish, don't worry. We're gonna make sure that we have the answer or the model section up on the website for you to go through. Okay, so don't worry too much about not completing the material. I'll make sure um anything that is necessary, we're gonna for sure touch base on. Okay, so welcome. Oh, Chicken, you changed your name. Welcome to class. Let's get it started. If you have any questions throughout the lesson, make sure you use your chat group to its maximum potential, okay? To its maximum potential. If you have any questions, just make sure you ask me. Well, I'm going to try and answer everything as much as possible. Okay, so today, in terms of your first term exam, I feel like we've not been able to do, well, not us, but you've not been able to do a lot of classes since the beginning of the school term, which was in March, and now you're doing your first puasa. Okay, now I'm not talking about your ujian bulanan, yeah, because you should know by now that your ujian bulanan doesn't actually account for your stream change in Form 4 and your SPM predictions. So if you just did like a short hour test the past 2 weeks or the past 3 weeks in the beginning of May, that is what we call a ujian bulanan, or in Mandarin, a xiaokao, a small test, a checkpoint. Okay, the one that's coming up end of May, early June, that is what we call an puasa. Okay, that grade is going to be taken into account as you go into Form 3 and Form 4, and you have to decide on your stream change. Okay, so just in case you are worried about your ujian bulanan, I know some parents are, please explain it to them. My main focus is to ensure that your uasa, you hit it out of the ballpark. Okay? Anybody has any expectation for the class, like certain parts that you really want to touch base on? You want to make sure that I'm able to do it for you, or you have particular questions that your in-school teacher has been able to explain, or okay, or certain parts that you're particularly weak in. You've analyzed yourself, you've gone through your own practices, and you realize this part always not scoring maximum grades. Anybody has any issues like that or not? No? We all good? If we're all good, I have a certain rundown today. I'm just gonna go according to it, okay? Perfect. Okay. Now, I do want to mention that there, like I said, there will be parts that I will have to skip through just because an hour and a half isn't very sufficient for the whole set. When we were doing the notes, we didn't actually expect that. Okay. So just bear in mind, I'll make sure that you have all the model answers at the end of the day. Okay. Now, hopefully you have your hard copy notes in front of you. If not, we do have the PDF soft copy version on the website as well that you can very quickly download and have a piece of paper in front of you. Okay. So let's start with the basics. Now, English for exam. We're not talking about English in regular life. English for exam, surprisingly, is less creative or subjective as you would imagine. A lot of times, sectional component, um, sectional component will be very much so marked factually. Okay, there are things that you have to hit to get your grades. So let's just roughly take a look. I would like to ask about that part. There is no more than 5 words. Comprehension component. Will they come out K but questions like the word is not in the text? Okay, we'll come to that later on. Yeah, remind me, Chicken. Okay, so English paper, you have 4 parts to it. Paper 1, 2, 3, 4. You have a written paper in terms of paper 1 and 2. And an oral paper, which is speaking and listening in paper 3 and 4. No matter the marking scheme 40, 40, 20, 25, at the end of the day, it gets compiled or tabulated into a 1 grade, 100 mark section. Is the same for PT3. When I say PT3, I mean Form 1, 2, and 3, okay? For PT3 and SPM structural components. So we're only going to touch base on a couple things today, which is your SEM, short communicative message. We're going to touch base on a little bit of guided writing, which is your notes expansion, and also information transfer. So the one that Chicken is asking is actually short answers. The one with no more than 5 words, which is essentially your pemahaman. You have a passage given and you're supposed to answer accordingly. Will they come out K-but questions? Very rarely. For Form 1, 2, and 3, most of your answers can be found within the text directly as per the words in the text. When you go to Form 4, Form 5, whole different story. That's where all your K-but comes in. For Form 1, 2, and 3, very rarely. Okay? Now, marking scheme in terms of our essay writing, this is the one that I want to talk about. Okay? Now, a lot of times you see at the bottom of your essay, when your teacher marks your grade, she oftentimes marks it as C, CA, OL. Okay? 20-mark grade, it is divided into 5 marks per section. Okay, a lot of students are very confused as to how the grading system works. Now, although we can't account for every single mark in each section, I can roughly tell you what you're supposed to look out for. Okay, now in terms of your content, you're looking primarily at your point. 2 things. Okay. Number 1, whether your answer, any answer provided within your essay answers to the question, number 1. So number 1, whether it answers to the question. Number 2, your points. Most essay in English components require a 3-point system. Whether it is your short writing task, 3 points, or your guided writing, or 3 points, okay? Doesn't matter how many paragraphs it is divided into, you are required to answer, to provide 3 points within your writing, okay? Now, communicative achievement, you're looking at a couple of things. Number 1, whether your elaboration, example, effect is suitable. Number 2, your tone and your vocabulary, whether it suits the question given. So let's say today you are writing to a friend It can be slightly more informal. You can use a lot more exclamation. Hey, how are you? Oh, I'm sorry. Sounds great. These kind of terms. Versus if you're writing to someone of a higher pangkat than you, your principal, your teacher, takkan you go and use the food, correct or not? Okay. So it's going to be a lot more formal. So this one does definitely talk more about that. Now, organization of text focuses on your kata hubungs, which is your linkers and connector. Now, I'm going to very quickly remind you what your linkers and connectors refer to. In every paragraph, if we look at the notes expansion, the long essay, when you have 3 to 4 sentences per paragraph, you're looking at a couple different things. Kata hubung is very variant. It is not just the beginning of the paragraph. So you will have a starter at the beginning of the paragraph. Usually I do enjoy when my students use words like initially or for one at the beginning. Okay. Then you have things like besides. You also have B. Things like however, a division for your third point, which usually is an opposing point. And then you have, this is just summer, you have a middle connector, which we've been practicing our fanboys. I should use a different color, which we've been practicing our fanboys on. Literally, this week's class was on fanboys when we did part of speech, right? You know what? Let's do a little bit of a warm up. Hands on your keyboard. Can you tell me what does your fanboys represent? Hands on your keyboard. Give it to me. What do you have? Yes, 4. And what else? Hands on your keyboard. Now, as before we move on, usually is an E. Under Isawawa book, we'll talk about that one later, yeah. That one is a combination of starter and middle incomes. No, this is in the middle. So for example, if you want to put in your point, I love apples. I don't like apples, no bananas. So things like that. Okay, you're combining 2 ideas. So very good, Enyue. What else? Hands on your keyboard. Everybody, let's do a quick warm up. No, not because. We just did it this week, guys. Woo! Anna, very nice. But beautiful. Roshan, yet. Very nice. No and all. Oh, I just gave you the answer. I was gonna say N and O are opposing points. So you have nor and you have or. Okay? And then you have many conclusion or effectual pointers. Things like therefore, hence, as a result, consequently. Okay? So these are usually used at the last sentence of your paragraph. I'm not talking about intro, body, conclusion. I'm talking about within one paragraph, you are aiming to have all 3 connectors here. Okay? And then language is just a very straightforward spelling, grammar, punctuation. So if I were you, and you've done your essay, okay? You've spent your time, you've done your essay. Truth be told, the only thing that you can double check and cross check before you hand your paper in essentially is your linker and oh, why is that an eraser? A linker and connector. Because you can just put a little arrow in and add it on, correct or not? And double check your elaboration, example, and effect. That's about it. Everything else, truth be told, you won't be able to make changes to or identify your errors because you know what you know and you don't know what you don't know. Things like spelling, right? You're not going to be able to tell if you spelled it wrong, correct? So things like that can't really tell. But if you can, linkers and connectors, and your CA components are usually things that you can kind of just read through, cross-check, see if you have everything there. Okay. Now, before we move on, I really want you to write this down first. So if you need a bit of time, put your hands up in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I'll give you a bit of time to write this down, everybody. Let's go. Anybody needs a bit of time to write this down, put your hands up. I'll wait for you. Nobody? Nobody needs the time? Perfect. I'll move on then. Okay, so right into it. We are going to warm you up with one of the easier writing components, which is your short communicative message. Out of 80 words, how are you going to do this? First things first. What are the 3 possible exam formats for your short communicative message? Hands on your keyboard. What are the 3 possible formats for communicative message? What do you have? Email, very good. This one is the one that you're probably most familiar with. Email. What else? You've got 2 more. Message, very good. Samiksha. Postcard, beautiful. Now, some people call it message, some people call it memo. It definitely is not a letter, but I get what you mean, okay? It's like a little note, okay? But you're essentially looking at these 3 things. If you were to ask me, in the exam structure, which is the most popular one, definitely email. Number 2, message. Number 3, postcard. Just because it's not popular, it doesn't mean it's not going to come up, yeah? It's just less popular. Postcard was probably more popular in Form 1, but email and messages do come up more in Form 2 and Form 3, okay? Now, so let's go to it. When you look at your structural component, a lot of times people get very worried with the format. I want to, tell you, rest assured, with short writing tasks, you really don't have to particularly memorize the format. It usually is shown within the question itself. So like in this case, right, just within the question itself, it tells you it's postcard, you have your structural format here, template here, you have your sign in, you have your salutation, and you have your sign out. Just emulate this, follow this structure, okay? The biggest issue or the biggest uncertain component usually is where to sign off, okay? And my suggestion to my students is always follow the question, especially in terms for message and memo, right? We usually ask them to sign on the right-hand side. The logic is anything that can be written by hand can be signed on the right-hand side. Anything that can be written by hand can be signed on the right-hand side. So things like messages, things like postcard, which is usually handwritten, you sign on the right-hand side. Anything that's computerized, I mean, you can imagine this, right? If you have a Microsoft Word, it's very inconvenient for you to just kind of push it to the right-hand side, correct? And make sure the spacing is right. So usually that's the annoying part. That's why people sign on the left. But there has been instances where, especially for your message, the sign is on the left, okay? So our rule of thumb, especially during the exam season, is follow what the question denotes. If you look at the question and the question sign's on the left, just follow it. If the sign's on the right, just follow it. Because anything, right, if they come back and they quarrel with you and they say, hey, this is supposed to be on the right-hand side, you literally can take the exam paper and be like, hey, an examiner as a question releaser, you've done your sign off on the left hand side. You should know better, and I'm just following you. You get what I mean? So it's actually a more foolproof way to just kind of protect yourself. Just follow where the question signs off. Okay? Now, let's analyze the question. We'll do a little bit of a rangka, then attempt one model piece. So what I usually do with my students, whenever we look at an essay, whether it is a short communicative message or the long guided writing, is WTF me. Okay? So WTF me, we're going to start with who? Take a look at your question here. Read the postcard from your pen pal, Roro. Dear Jenny, my dad is finally bringing my family and I to Cameron Highland after I told him about your holiday there last summer. Could you recommend me a must-visit tourist attraction there? Looking forward to hearing from you. By Roro. Okay? So, tell me, who are you? Who are you writing to? Hands on your keyboard. Who are you? Who are you writing to? Hello, everybody. What type, huh? Who are you? I mean, like, like, what is your name in this question? What is your friend's name? Are you writing to a friend, a family member? Siapa? Very good. You are Jenny. You are writing to Roro. Your friend is Roro. Very good. So don't terbalik the name. Now, number two, topic. What is your topic of the day? Analyze your question. What is your topic of the day? Take a look at it. Must visit tourist attraction in Cameron. Tourist attraction, Cameron Highlands. Very nice. So there are two types of question form. I want to talk to you about this. Recommend a must visit tourist attraction in Cameron Highland. Now there are two types of question, yeah. One where they give you one which is like this. They give you a general topic and you are able to just write 3 points under the sky. It can be anything you can put your hands on. Okay. So topic wise, usually you have one of two, which is one general topic. Or number two is what? They give you very specific questions to answer. Literally, they give you 3 questions like T1, what are you supposed to answer? T2, what are you supposed to answer? T3, what are you supposed to answer? Now, a lot of students are actually, you might think, if they give me T1, T2, T3, very easy, ma. I just Q&A answer it. What they want, I give. But a lot of students actually find this one very difficult because they feel very restricted. Okay, so there are one of types here. So you can just, keep an eye out for that, yeah? Now, format of the day, we've already marked it out for you, right? You have a postcard. You have a postcard. So we're going to take a look at the format later on, yeah? Oh, why is my name Eden? My name's not Eden. I'm writing to Roro. Can you make sure you correct that? Yeah, I'm writing to Roro to give her some advice. Now, my general rule of thumb when it comes to short communicative message is this. Okay, take a look. In my introduction, body, and conclusion, I essentially have ET in my body, 3 PR, and then I have, for my conclusion, a haha technique. What do they stand for? Essentially, it is emotion, topic, point and reason, hope, and action. Now, in terms of introduction and conclusion, that's the easiest thing out. It is like the most brainless thing you have to spend time on. Okay. In terms of emotion, we always do exclamation statements. Anything that is exclamation mark. Okay. So your friend is also visiting. Okay. Your pen pal is also visiting Cameron Highlands. Okay. So how are you going to respond? How do you feel about it? How are you going to respond? That is so exciting. Okay. Now, I mean, Form 1, Form 2, okay. You can use things like, I'm so excited. I'm so sorry. I'm so happy. Okay. Very okay. But do try to divert it to more natural verbal conversation. Literally, if I'm sitting across of you having a conversation with you, let's say I'm talking to Samiksha and I'm like, hey, I'm going to Cameron Highland, during the holiday. What do you suggest? Cameron Highland is your kampong, or not? How would you respond? Oh, that's great. That sounds delightful. So exciting. Correct or not? Little communicative exclamations like this, you wouldn't truly be, I am excited. Correct or not? That's a bit robotic, right? So I'm going to say, wow, sounds great, delightful. Delightful is a bit pish posh, but okay. Um, so excited for you. Okay. Now, topic of the day, I would oftentimes answer it directly, okay? Unless the points are very rigid, I don't have enough for my T1, T2, T3. Otherwise, I would answer it directly. Now, Cameron Highland, what comes off of my head? Now, I probably have only been to Cameron Highland less than a handful of times. 3 times at most, I would say. Um, I'm ashamed to say this, but I have not traveled a lot locally, unfortunately. I know Malaysia is one of the most visited places in Southeast Asia by other foreign visitors and tourists. Unfortunately, I've not done my bit as a Malaysian myself, okay? But the only thing that I know about Cameron Highland, tea plantation, okay? Tea plantation. I suppose I know. Yes, Roshan, the strawberry farm. If you talk about strawberry farms, you're actually one of the oldies. You're the OG people because in the very past, when I was in primary school, like 2 decades ago, that's the only thing that's there, the strawberry farms. But apparently, I mean, you have the mossy hills that you can go hiking at as well. Okay, the mossy hills. Apparently now there's like a lavender farm. You've been? Exactly. So apparently in the past like 5 years, while I was doing my homework on like where to visit in Cameron Highlands, that's like a beautiful lavender farm. You can look at lavenders, you can buy lavender byproducts, you can have lavender ice cream. It's quite pretty. There's like a domey big botanical garden or like a park. That's pretty cool as well. So I suppose you could have your pick at any of these things here. Okay. Now, I don't look at my points first. I look at my hope and action. There's only two things you usually do here. In short writing tasks, they either ask you to give suggestions or advice or opinions, or you're sharing your experiences. Okay. So what do you usually say? If you are giving an opinion or if you're giving your suggestions to this matter, okay, I would oftentimes say, I hope my suggestions were helpful, were useful, were of use. You do have 80 words. I would try to control myself in terms of elaborating it extensively just because you may run out of points, word count for your points. Okay. Now, experience, if you're sharing like, um, I know you're Chinese and you celebrate Chinese New Year. I'm Indian and I only celebrate Deepavali. I've not had experience. Would you tell me what you did during Chinese New Year? Sharing stories of experiences. There's nothing to learn here. You're not helping them with anything. In these instances, I would say, oh, I hope that my experience or my story was enjoyable for you to read. If it was educational, I might say, learn a thing or two. Very rarely, but that's an option. Okay. And then in terms of my action, it's things like, it's mostly like slogan wise, like enjoy yourself, have fun. If we're meeting up, arranging to meet up, see you soon. If your friend is, I'm giving variety. I may not fit this one, but I'm giving you options. Okay. See you soon. If you're helping your friend pick out like birthday gifts, okay, you could say, update me on what you chose. Okay. Here and there. Worst case scenario, you really cannot think of anything to write. Write to me soon. Or things like, let me know. Let me know how it went. Worst case scenario. Okay. Now, ready for your points? Today's case is a case of general topic, right? There's a thing that I do very conveniently, okay? It essentially is a positive, an action, and a negative. Now, I want to remind you, what class are we? We are an English language class. I am not a moral class. Positive, negative here does not mean good or bad. It is not a judgment of morality. There's no good, there's no bad. It is just within the sentence, is there a not to it? Okay? Is there a not to it? Okay, I've done this with you before, but just in case we have any new kids in class. Sentence number one, number two, I kill for fun. I do not bully. Okay, very quickly answer me. Which sentence is positive? Hands on your keyboard. Which sentence is positive sentence? Again, let me remind you, I am not a moral class. I am English class. I do not care about the meaning of the sentence. I'm not judging you. Remember what I wrote here? Negative is if the sentence has a not to it. So out of the two, which is positive, which is negative? Very good. Correct yourself, guys. Anye, Chikin, Samiksha, good job. I kill for fun is a positive sentence. I do not bully is a negative sentence. Why? The sentence of not exists in your second sentence, and that's why it's a negative sentence. Do you get what I mean? I'm not a moral class so long as it has a not. Okay? Do you understand this connotation? If you do, give me an okay thumbs up, party popper love shape in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Respond to me. You gotta understand this for me to go into my points, yeah? Thank you, Samiksha. Right, okay, in the chat group, my dear. If you look at your taskbar, there should be a reaction button. In there, you have your emojis, you have your raise hand button, which you might need very soon. Okay, so that aside, let's do this. I'm going to talk about the details a bit more. So if I look at this, what am I going to do? If I choose, let's say I choose tea plantation. Point number one, I am going to have to talk about a positive pointer. And I always use the same thing. Obviously, you recommend something to somebody because they like it, right? So my point number one, or my reason number one, always talks about you. Oh, you are an avid tea drinker. You are a tea enthusiast. You are keen on tea. These things all talk about you interested in that particular thing. Okay. Now, actions are usually specific executional steps. That means things that you can actually do. For example, if I ask you, how do I lose weight? How do I get healthy? I've been very lethargic, very tired. How do I gain more energy? And you tell me exercise lah. Is that a good point or a bad point? Is that actionable or not? Are there steps by step? Is there instructions to it? No, exactly. So actionable elaboration or actionable point here means you got to give me instructions, step by step, specific scenarios. So you gotta tell me you should exercise 3 times a week, 20 minutes minimum, focus 2 days on muscle building or muscle strength, 1 day on cardiovascular exercises. You know, these are actionable. If your friend asks you, oh, what clothes should I buy? Or what gift should I buy for my sister's birthday? And you suggest that, oh, uh, you should buy a dress for her. Then you should probably give actionable steps, which is what H&M is having a mid-year sale, a Hari Raya sale, and dresses are 40% off. You'll be able to get the best deals there. Actionable, executable, step-by-step instructions. Do we understand this? If we understand this, give me an okay thumbs up, party popper. Love shape 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Actionable. You understand why it's actionable? Because apparently a lot of students don't get the concept behind it. Beautiful. So specific step by step instruction. Okay, now number 3, in my negative statement, what do? There's one of 2 things that I would do. Number 1, I would suggest what they should not do instead. Do you recall some questions that ask you to choose between 2 options? Like, I'm trying to pick up a new hobby. Should I swim or should I what's a good example? Should I go jogging? So maybe you chose swimming. Okay, the first 2 points you talk about swimming. The third point you would say, I didn't choose jogging because you have an existing knee injury. And jogging is high impact onto your knees, which will worsen the condition. You get what I mean? So number 1 would be what not to do instead. Why you didn't choose the other option if you were given an option, okay? Number 2, how would I approach it? I do like to say, like, reminders. What not to forget. What to be slightly more aware of, tips and tricks. Go earlier, okay? There are, there's always a crowd, okay? Make reservations before you show up, otherwise you have to queue for very long. Carpool, because there's very little parking spots, okay? Tips and tricks or reminders, what not to forget, okay? Do we understand this? Do you understand the 3 PRs in the middle in terms of positive, action, and negative? Give me an okay thumbs up, party papa. Love shape. In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Beautiful. Now, so what we're gonna do here now is we are going to put this down in your model component on the right-hand side. So I'm going to start you off with the format first. Postcard format, emulate this side. You have name and address to the right-hand side. You have your salutation. Teacher, can you repeat the negative part? So like I said, right, number 1 is what not to do instead, especially if you're given a choice. Remember the example that I gave, swimming versus jogging. I want to try a new sport. Should I swim or jog? If you chose swimming, your third point should always explain why you didn't choose jogging. Do you understand this one? So the positive of swimming, how you should swim. And then third point, we're like, I didn't choose jogging for you because you have an existing knee injury. Do you understand this one first or not? Yes? Okay. Second one, reminder usually is what not to forget. If you're going camping, don't forget to bring your sunscreen. Don't forget to bring a bug repellent, okay? Or, let me write it down. Or tips and tricks. The cafe is very popular. Make sure you make a reservation. Otherwise, you have to queue. Make sure you bring your own shopping bag. They charge you for, carriers. Make sure you carpool. There's not a lot of parking spots. Tips and tricks as somebody who's been there before. Do you understand the second one? my dear. Okay, understand? So let's go to the writing component. So we are writing to Roro, okay? We are writing to Roro. So I'm gonna go, same thing, follow it to Roro. Put in an address. Now, I don't think you should waste your brain cells on this. Just write your house address. If you don't remember your house address, your teacher's not gonna stop you lah, okay? Don't worry about like, teacher, security issues. I shouldn't expose my house. Who is going to be so free to stop you? Hello? Correct or not? Okay, so what you're gonna do here is I'm just gonna go to Roro. Another thing that I do is number, play jalan, postcode, yeah. So I'm gonna go 123, jalan 1/23, postcode 12345, Petaling Jaya, Selangor. And what I like to do is basically see where they write until and I'll emulate that. So I could stop at Petaling Jaya, but I prefer Selangor, so I'll stop at full stop. Okay? So this is my trick. I always do 123, Jalan 1/23, 12345, Petaling Jaya. If I need two addresses, can you guess what is my other address? My other address is going to be 456 Jalan 4/56, 45678, Petaling Jaya, Selangor. Again, they're not gonna, Google Map or Waze your address. So long as it looks legit, they'll take it. So long as they look legit, they'll take it. Okay? Then you're gonna go similarly to the left hand side. If you realize with the example, you'll go dear row, comma. Okay? You're gonna go dear row, comma. Now give me a second. I'm gonna switch it up to my keyboard. I am infamous for having the best handwriting. So I'm gonna make sure you can tell what I'm writing and save us all the hassle. And use a keyboard here. Give me a second. For me to adjust this. Okay, so I'm gonna start it off here. Let me adjust the spacing here. Okay, so I'm gonna go with an exclamation first, correct? Your friend is going to Cameron Highlands for the holidays. It's so exciting. So I'm gonna say, wow, that sounds fun. Exclamation. Okay. Now, if you ask me, I would recommend you to visit the Bo Tea Plantation. Full stop. I'm going to divide it into paragraphs first, then I'll explain to you the most recent exam structure, okay? So let's go. Since you are an outdoor enthusiast, I am sure you would enjoy the rolling hills and fresh, crisp air. What's more, two positive actionable steps are there is a cafe next to the plantation where you can sit down and enjoy high tea at an affordable price with only 20 ringgit. I'm going to give you specific actionable steps. 20 ringgit, you are treated to a pair of scones with strawberry jam and a pot of tea. However, my tips and trick, do visit this place earlier as it gets crowded and hotter later in the day or in the afternoon. I hope this helps. Enjoy yourself. Your friend. What's my name? My name's Jenny, right? Jenny. Okay. Now, if you need a bit of time, can you put your hands up? I'll wait for you in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's go. People watching the recorded version, just pause it here if you need be to write everything down, and then we'll start things off when you're ready to move on. Okay, so let me kind of break it down to you, and let's see if you see what you're supposed to be doing here, yeah? So, do you see the fact that you have started off with an exclamation here? What? Correct? And then your topic of Bull Tea Plantation. T1 positive, you are an outdoor enthusiast. You like this. I'm sure that my reason is what you enjoy the rolling hills and fresh, crisp air. Focus on the nature law, outdoor ma. Now, point number 2, T2, actionable steps. You have cafe. I introduce the cafe first, and then I give you the steps here. Specific details. 20 ringgit, you have scones and tea. And then I have my T3, which is my negative statement, which today is not so much of don't do this. It's more of tips and tricks. Okay? And then I have my hope. I have my action. Okay? Now, next. Do you see your linkers and connectors here? Okay? At the beginning, you have since. You have and. You have what's more. You have words like with, however, as. Okay? Sign off to the left. Shouldn't be too big of an issue. And that is a short writing task. We good? Now, before we wrap this up, I want to mention something. I know that many of you have recently gotten a new order for your short writing task. Okay? School exams have been denoting that in your short writing task, you should no longer separate paragraphs. Now, I'm separating it so that you can clearly see intro, body, conclusion. But here's the thing. In the exams, apparently now, as of literally 3 weeks ago, we have learned that the whole thing should be in one paragraph. So once you kind of have your whole essay in, make sure you just write it in one whole paragraph only. Okay? Remember this out, one paragraph only. The only reason why I separate it into different paragraphs is so that especially newer kids, you're able to see the division between intro, body, and conclusion clearer. Okay? Otherwise, one whole paragraph. Okay? Now, with that, we're gonna wrap our communicative message up. Is everyone okay at this point? Give me an okay thumbs up, buddy bubble. Love you in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Beautiful. Okay, now, we've got half an hour left. I want to try to squeeze in one long essay here. Okay, I'm just gonna very quickly break down a holiday topic here, which is quite popular in your first term exams. Since you've been, school teachers, they really like to give you questions that relate to life in reality. So the fact that you've been having so many holidays is a uh, clue about what they'll look at. Now, you see that you have gone on a holiday in your own country, write about an essay about a holiday you've enjoyed, talking about celebrations, write an essay about celebrations you enjoyed. Now, usually in these cases, right, your long essay has, again, one of two situations. You either see a topic on narrative essays, okay, or expository. Now, in easier terms, narrative essays are essentially stories. Expositories are essentially factual essays, one of two. So with stories, you have a lot of I, you, we, they, he, she, it. There's a lot of pronoun. There's a lot of personal opinions, personal thoughts, personal feelings. With expository, it's usually, this situation, okay? Subject A is like that, like that, like that. Subject B is like that, like that, like that. Point, effect, conclusion. That's about it, okay? So you do have to be slightly more careful in terms of, I would say, the effect. One is very personal, very emotional, very touchy-feely. The other one is more, how does this impact the world? Okay. So it usually is 5W1H situation. What I oftentimes like to do is kind of divide what is a basic presentation of information. Usually, you know this, what, right? Usually in your introduction, you're gonna give me what I like to call a setting. Basic description is like your basic 5W1H. When is it? How is it? Who is it? Okay. Now, number two, in your body, it's usually the whole process, the whole duration of it. And then conclusion is oftentimes how you feel, what you learn, what were some of the impacts to you or people around you. Okay. So if you take a look at these two questions, one is on holiday, one is on celebration. Let's practice how you would group your points together. In terms of the holiday destination, if I were to say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, okay, without going into much details, without going into much details, which one do you think you would put your introduction as? If we talk about the holiday one, which one would you put your introduction as introduction? It doesn't have to only be one bubble, yeah? It can be a couple bubbles, what? Because think about it. Sometimes there are just points that cannot be elaborated. I mean, if I talk about when it took place, like, can you fill one paragraph with when? You probably just tell me, oh, I went last Saturday during the school holidays. Like a one-liner, right? Yeah, exactly. 2, 3, and 4, 1, 2, and 3, 2 and 3. If it was me, my introduction would be 1, 2, and 3. Okay. My 3 paragraphs for body, what am I going to talk about? In my 3 paragraphs for body, right? In this one, I would probably do 4 and 6. Maybe spend like 2 paragraphs on 4. Maybe 2 events that I did. Because the whole process or the whole trip should end together, right? start, middle, end. You arrive at the destination, you did something there for one day, and then the third day, how it ended. Okay. Then number 5, I would actually do it as my conclusion. Why would you return? Plus, maybe talk about some effects. How do I feel about it? And then some effects of the trip at the end of the day. So I'll probably do it something like this. Does it make sense? If it does, give me an okay thumbs up, party popper. Love shape in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Do you have to write according to sequence? No. Are you trying to ask me if like I have to write 1, then 2, then 3, then 4, then 5, then 6? No. Especially at the end, usually 4, 5, and 6, you can kind of jumble it up a bit and reorganize it into paragraphs that you think is suitable. That's why I did 4 and 6 together, then 5 as a conclusive effect. So the question in itself wouldn't make it like super jumpily up anyways. They wouldn't ask you to do 1 and 5, 2 and 6, 3. Very rare. It's very like that one. But yes, you can do like what we've done here. 4, 6, then 5. Definitely okay. Okay. Now this one, celebration. How would you group your points into intro, body, and conclusion? This one is a bit jumbly mumbly, correct? Let's say, so how I usually think about it is I give myself an example. I live the English life by 2 processes, either process of elimination or try it out with examples. Okay, that's why I usually look at it. 3, 4, and 5 as introduction. I wouldn't do 4 though. You see, similar to like the holiday in your destination, right? What do you do? Usually there's many things you do during a celebration that can be a very good chunky body, right? 3, 5, 6. Very good. 3, 5, and 6 is actually pretty good. I mean, doesn't have to die be like that. You can also just do 5 and 6. And then you can match up things with it. So definitely the basic of, I would also add in like what celebration it is. And then define the celebration with what it is. When do we celebrate it? Where do we go? Who? Maybe? Maybe who? Because with who, I feel like it can also be an elaboration in your what. So in my body, definitely primarily number 4, what do I do? Maybe with each activity, I could explain my one. Let's say Chinese New Year. What do? We give out ang pao. Then I explain why we give out ang pao. We have reunion dinners. Then I explain why we have reunion dinners. Correct? So it could be a partner relationship. It could be like an elaboration for the main point of 4. Also can. It doesn't have to be its own paragraph. Yeah, you get what I mean? Uh, that's what I say. Maybe 3 can be here as well. Because when I say what I do, I give out ang pao, right? I may further elaborate by saying, married people, married adults give to unmarried juniors. Reunion dinner with close families. You do not invite friends. So number 3 may be part of 4 as well. So this is definitely up in the air as to how I would decide or where I would decide to put it. Definitely conclusion. Conclusion, a lot of times, like I said, feel is a part of your conclusion, right? So your feel, your lesson learned, your opinion about it. It can be emotion, it can be thoughts. Definitely one of 2. Okay? Do you understand how this differs from the story writing of number 1? Because this is factual. less emotional rundown. Do we understand? Give me an okay thumbs up, party popper love shape in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Beautiful. Thank you very much. Now, do you need a bit of time to write this down? If you do, just put your hands up. I'll wait for you. Anybody? If no hands, then I'll move on. Yeah. If no hands, then I will move on. Okay. Now, take a look at the question today. You've got Malaysia. And your question today is, in your class, you've been talking about holiday destination in Malaysia. How would you describe your favorite holiday destination? We've been talking about northern destination for the past month and a half. We were basically a geography class. I have never learned so much about the northern regions of Malaysia than I have in the past month and a half. And I told all my students, got a C for my geography. I don't know the Malaysian map. I only know Perlis is at the very top and Johor is at the very bottom. I admit, I'm good at this. Okay? In the past month and a half, I have thoroughly learned about Penang. Exactly. Perlis, Pahang. Is it Pahang? Kedah and Perlis. Okay? I said Perlis twice. Penang, Penang, Perak, Pahang, and Perlis. Yes, Roshan, you remember it. I thoroughly learned all 4 states. And when we learn this, you know what we cover, right? No Pahang. Langkawi, oh, Kedah. Langkawi is Kedah. We talked about Kedah. Yeah. Okay, not Pahang, it's Kedah. Okay, now, so, and when you talk about a destination, right? When you go on holidays, what do you usually look at? As proud Malaysians, I know food is a very big part of any holiday trip for Malaysians, okay? But not, you can't just eat non-stop, right? What do you need? Try and recall your fact sheet. We started off by defining the place. Once we defined it, we introduced foods that you can eat there. We introduced activities. And in our activities, if you remember, we usually had a city one, which usually is like a skyscraper. You could enjoy a bird's eye view of the city. We usually have like an activity, which is like a theme park or a very physical action, you know, an island place. And then you have like a one that's a bit naturistic, day-night activity. So you could divide it into a couple parts. You either do city, nature, and activity, or you can divide it day and night. So that's how we have been approaching holiday destinations in terms of what to do. Okay, so you can do, like I said, foodie, city, nature, or day and night. 2 approaches, yeah. So again, how would I break my intro? I'm gonna do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. How am I gonna do my intro, body, and conclusion? What are the like one-liners? Cannot elaborate one. How many to put in one part? Here's a very good question. So a lot of students get very concerned, like, oh, teacher, takkan I put like out of the 6 points here, I put 4 in introduction. Why not? Because again, one bubble doesn't mean one paragraph, ma. Okay? One bubble can be a one-liner. One bubble can be 2 paragraphs. 1, 3, and 4, perfect. I would in fact also put 1, 2, 3, and 4. I'll put two there also. I'll put two there also. But again, usually with your people, I can do it like this also, correct or not? I can make it a combo point with the activities. So in my body, I will focus on number 5. Maybe I do 2 paragraphs. One on city, one on nature, one on food. I need 3, correct or not? In your body, 3 paragraphs always. Maybe I can do daytime, you can do what? Nighttime, you can do what? Educational versus activity. Can so many ways. So I'll do 3 paragraphs of what you can there. You can match it with the who also. You can match it with the who also. So who is usually a bit more up in the air. You can match it in the paragraph or up top. Okay. In your conclusion, benefits is an effect, correct? Maybe if you want, you know, you can talk about emotional effect. You can talk about factual effects. Okay. Now, so let's take a look at it very quickly. I have recently, just personally, been looking at Langkawi, which is why I know that Langkawi is in Kedah. Just a family thing. One, I'm looking for it. So coincidentally, we're doing this, right? So you can definitely talk about the fact that elaborate first, define the topic. Kedah is in northern region of Malaysia. It's very outdoorsy. So I can talk about outdoor enthusiasts, answering my who, correct or not. Okay. You get to Langkawi, there is a couple methods. Number 1, you either do car plus sea or you fly by air. You don't say you fly by air. Okay. Um, cannot drive that straight. I don't think so. I think you can drive to Kedah and then to get to Pulau. Pulau is an island, ma. Island means what? All 4 areas are waterlogged. So how the car get there? Correct or not? So to get onto the island, you need to use the boat. Okay. Where can tourists stay? Number 4, depending on your budget. If you got a lot of money, of course you can stay in a hotel lah. No money. If you got no money, where can you stay? Where do like those people who want to save on money, they just come with a little backpack? Homestay like Airbnb actually also quite expensive way. Airbnb also quite expensive, but okay, Airbnb or homestay, super cheap. It's like a dormitory. You share the toilet, you share the facilities, you maybe have one bed out of a bunk bed in a room. It's called a backpackers lodge. Capsule room is Japanese, super atas also. I mean, it's cheaper in Japan. It's one of the cheaper options. But Malaysia, capsule room is actually an attraction. Okay. So in this case, I've answered 1. Who, who, how do we get there? 3, where can tourists stay? 4. Okay. Now, activities in my body, what can I do? Would you say that I can only talk about, yes, I can only talk about beach activities. So number 1, I need 3 paragraphs for my body. Mind you, I remember the magic number is 3, no matter the length of the essay. Number 1, I can focus on nature, talking about beach activities. I'm just going through this very quickly. We all have 8 minutes. Number 2, I can talk about a city activity, which is a skyscraper. In Langkawi, you have a skyscraper called the Langkawi sky cab, sky bridge. Okay, so we can talk about enjoying the view from up top. Okay, and of course, in Langkawi, what do you have? With sky cab. If you go home from Langkawi empty-handed, you have not been to Langkawi. So one activity that obviously is a must do when you are in Langkawi is duty-free shopping. Free shopping. Go on a shopping spree. Why? Langkawi is duty-free, tax-free, especially for chocolates. Uh, should I say alcohol? Probably not. You are a young, innocent, naive kid. I'm not sure if I should talk about like alcohol and cigarettes, but you can talk about perfumes. You know, surprisingly, what do aunties buy? Kitchen utensils. My mom loves getting pots and pans, like all the branded Zebra or what. I don't know. I'm not very informed. But pots and pans in Langkawi, because it is tax free, it takes off like a good 10 to 25% off of pots and pans. It's crazy. I never knew. Okay. You love perfumes. Oh, Shamik Shah, you know me. Those, yes, those aunties like it so much. Yes, the set ones. You know, the kitchen utensil, the china sets, you know, like the plates and teapots and teacups, the very intricate, ornate ones, you know. Yeah, like the kitchen knives as well. So probably stick to these rather than alcohol and cigarettes. Okay. And things to do. So you've got three there, and this answers to what activities? Number five. Now, number six, conclusion. I'm gonna go with how it benefits. I mean, given that it is naturistic, I would say you could say appreciate nature. Or if I want to continue talking about nature, I could say escaping city life. You know, we always use hustle and bustle, rat race, the peribahasa we can throw in later. And of course, like any holiday trip, holiday destination, you're not going there yourself, right? Whoever you're going with, you're gonna be able to hands in your keyboard, you're gonna be able to bond, strengthen relationship with whoever you're going with. I think, were you going with your family? Oh no, you didn't say family or friends, whoever you're going with. And that answers to point six. Do you see how my brain works? Yeah? If you understand the breakdown of the Rangka, give me an okay thumbs up, buddy. Papa. Love shape in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's go. Beautiful. Okay. Now, we've got 3 more minutes. You know what I'm gonna do? I wanna talk about one small thing in your information transfer. Don't worry about the essay. I'll make sure it gets uploaded online. You'll be able to access the full model essay online. Hopefully in a couple of days. Okay, so don't worry about it. Anybody needs a bit more time here? Can you put your hands up, please? I'll wait for you in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Anybody? Nobody? Beautiful. Now, before we wrap things up, I just want to talk about this a little bit. Information transfer, similar to comprehension, has a word count. Now, this is in paper 1, yeah? Information transfer usually is less than 3 words. if it is your comprehension component, it is less than 5 words. Now, the issue with this is a lot of times students don't actually know how to count the words. So in this 2 minutes, I want to just very quickly go through this part with you. Now, tell me how many words or numbers are these considered? Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm going to number this to make it easier for you to know what question I'm referring to. So number 1, how many words is that? Hands on your keyboard, tell it to me. How many words? 1. Very good. It is 1 phone number. You're not gonna individually count the number there, yeah? Now, number 2, this address. This address here, 115 Jalan Gasing, PGS 10, 46000, Petaling Jat. Exactly, that's also 1 word. Number 3, weight gain with a hyphen. Key feature, hyphen. 1 word, very good. Gain weight with no hyphen. 2 words. So sometimes if you're desperate, use the hyphen. Number 5, 9 o'clock in the morning. Five words. You have 9 o'clock, since it's apostrophe, in the morning. 9 words. So if I want to make it into 1 word, how do I have to change it into 1 word? How can I change it into 1 word? What do I write instead? Instead of 9 o'clock in the morning, I should write. Super easy. Just write 9 a.m. Correct or not? I mean, instead of 9 o'clock in the morning, just write 9 a.m. and it's 1 word. Yeah? Now, number 7, 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. 3, World War II Memorial. 1, exactly. World War II Memorial is a kata nama khas. It's like KLCC, Kuala Lumpur Convention Center. It's 1 word. It's a kata nama khas. Suet Ching, 1 word, kata nama khas. Pusat tuition tutor Cemerlang, 1 word, kata nama khas. Correct or not? So these kind of things, this is probably the one thing I see students struggling with the most, not knowing how many words their answer is actually considered. And a lot of times they miss out the ability to maximize their word count, or they've overwritten thinking it was a lot less. Okay, so again, you'll be given the answers. We'll upload everything onto the website. Make sure you attempt the questions out and check your answers there. Okay? Slightly overdue at 4-1. Hopefully today's lesson covers the bigger chunk of your grading system, which is your short communicative message and your guided writing. I'll upload everything else online. If you have any questions, feel free to text me. For those who are TDC students, I'll see you in regular class. For those who are not, good luck to you in your exams, and I'll see you around. Bye-bye, guys.